Welcome to the first episode of the Community Talks by Get Involved. I'm Mike G. I run Community Spot, which is a new community newsletter sent over WhatsApp in Kentish Town. And today I'm joined by the lovely Sarah Hoyle from Kentish Town Community Centre. So hi, Sarah.
Hi, Mike.
How's it going today?
It's remarkably busy for what should be a bank holiday, and we should all be in our gardens drinking Pims in the UK anyway. So it's basically a Tuesday in normal terms in March. Just think about it like that, really.
So just to start off, what can you just give a little introduction about your role at the community centre, and also tell us your favourite Kentish Town anecdote?
So on my Twitter profile, I say that I lead KTCC. Essentially, my job title is centre manager. Other people doing this job call themselves CEOs or directors, but I think my job is to lead a team and to make sure my team can do really good work in their specialised areas. So as a centre, we have an older people's project, which is run by Lisa. We have a youth service, which is run by Jamie. Then we've got Tom, who does all the bookings. And then we have our service. So that's kind of general stuff. And then we have a membership scheme. We have free legal advice, free debt advice. And as a response to the COVID pandemic, we're big on food delivery and distribution. So I think my job is to make sure that everyone in our team feels comfortable doing the best they possibly can. And if they need additional support, that's my job to get that. And that support might be anything from a laptop to funding, or from training through to a hug when we can hug. So if I do my job well, then other people's job should be really, really easy, essentially. So that's that. As for Kentish Town anecdotes, there's quite a few stories going around at the moment about. There was one story about one of our older people who we said, "Look, do you want some toilet roll?" And she said, "Where's it from?" And it was from Iceland. And she said, that's not good enough quality for me. So that was quite funny. There's so many stories.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, you have a fantastic space there as well. And when I've been in there, it's always surprised me going up that really small garden path. It's very sort of hidden away, but when you get in there, it's amazing. And what you've done with the indoor garden as well, where you've basically peppered the place full of pot plants, which is really good. It's really good. And although I haven't been there for a while, so what kind of things are you doing these days to help the community? You said that you were serving them food. Like, what kind of actual things are you doing day to day?
So the main project we have is a project called the Happiness Hampers Project. So called because I went to Booker, which is a local cash and carry, 3 days before the official lockdown on the Friday, and I went with one of the trustees who is a trustee here called Catherine, and we were thinking, let's get pasta and rice and all that sort of stuff. Nothing. Everything was out, and the only thing we could get was jam and honey. And I thought, well, they're not essentials, but they're quite nice. They're kind of happiness foods, right? If you just have a piece of toast. If you have a piece of toast with jam, it's a happiness thing. So rather than trying to convince anyone that there would be anything in this hamper that was kind of essential, we called it the Happiness Hamper Project. And what the project looks like now, we've got 5 primary schools, all in Kentish Town. One of them is in Camden Town. And every 2 weeks, me and various teachers from each of the schools meet at Booker. We go to Booker, the cash and carry. They charge round Booker like expert shoppers. And every school has a budget of £350. Every school gets one of those kind of zappy guns, so they can scan all the items. They get their food, they take it back to school, they create the hampers, and then they distribute them to their children. So it means that we don't have to think about any GDPR issues. We don't have to know the names of the children. We don't know who gets the hampers. in each of the hampers, there's a small note that says, look, if you need any more food or any support, come to the community centre. So, I mean, that has been phenomenal. That really is our kind of flagship project for COVID. And the reason it's been phenomenal is we've got around 240 low-income families now part of it. So these are families that may not be on any benefits at all, but all of a sudden their income just stopped. So a really good example of this would be like a painter decorator who was earning quite a lot and suddenly stopped, people working in hospitality. So the schools decide, you know, my job is to fundraise, get the money, and then sort out the booker run. What's amazing about that project, just to add, Mike, is that it has allowed teachers, is given teachers the excuse to talk to families. So they knock on the door, step back and say, this is from our school and Kentish Town, and how are you doing and what's going on? And there's some very, very moving stories about teachers that have picked up on safeguarding issues or picked up on concerns that they wouldn't have been able to do if they didn't have an excuse to do it, and the hampers provide that excuse. So it's a powerful project, not just for the food, but also for the fact that conversations and connections can be made, which couldn't have been done without the vehicle of food. There's that. And then we have our food bank on site, which anyone can access between 10 and 2. You just have to phone in advance. And then what's about to happen here is we do these guerrilla deliveries, which are quite fun. So when we get too much food, because we're getting food from Camden Council, which is fabulous, we just stick it in paper bags and put a sign on it and deliver it at people's doors. So it's quite fun. And what's really cool about that is there's lots and lots of local families who won't ask for help. They won't ask for help at all, but they're very good at thanking. We did some of this guerrilla delivery, hard to say, on one of our local estates, Peckwater, the other day. And what we did was we got 3 young people who normally attend the youth service to do the delivery for us. And by all accounts, we had people like clapping for them and just cheering these young people on as they were delivering guerrilla food packages to, you know, we don't know who these people are getting them. We just drop them at the door and, you know, kind of scarper. And it's really incredible. So that's been really brilliant for our young people, because it just makes them feel really valued. And so there's lots of really, without sounding bad, there's lots of really nice things coming out of what is a pretty awful situation.
Yeah, for sure. It sounds like you're dealing with it pretty well as well. That's an awesome story about the young kids getting involved, because I think it's quite hard for them. They're usually at the community centre playing FIFA and table tennis and doing things. I've seen them doing it, so it's amazing for them to still feel involved with the community centre. What would you say, going back to the happiness hampers and delivering them door to door, you say there's been some stories. What would you say are the biggest challenges in Kentish Town as a community at the moment?
Stigma around food is one of my biggest fears at the moment, and stigmas around asking for help. I'm really worried that people won't ask for help, and instead they'll battle on things. The cost of food, anything else will go on the credit card. People will get into debt, and you know, I think there is a high possibility that in 6 months' time, a year's time, we've got an increase in homelessness in our area, because people have got into debt. The debt has spiraled out of control. You know, they can't afford their rent, whatever. And I just really, really hope that people reach out, and, you know, even if they come to the centre for a cup of tea and a little bit of time out, that's absolutely fine for me. They don't have to come for food or a service, or perhaps they do come for a cup of tea and realise that, you know, there's other people they can chat to and stuff, and then they access our legal advice or they access our debt advice. And what I want our centre to be is a place for de-escalation. So a place for people to come down to decompress. And we've had a few people who've come to us in a real raging panic, actually. I can't cope, I haven't got food, all that sort of stuff. And you can tell because people speak very quickly, they're very stressed. and we're just treating people with care. And I'm my biggest concern is that people don't reach out. They don't feel they can reach out, and then things spiral. That's my biggest concern right now. And that, I have to say, that's not just for people who you would associate, people with large families on housing estates. Particularly, one of my big concerns is young professionals who may lose their job, be freelancers, whatever. Their work dries up, and rather than saying I'm not in a great place, they struggle on, and it all becomes too much. So yeah, that's my big concern right now.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point as well. And this, hopefully the listeners of this will be in that demographic as well, because we're going to send this out on the Community Spot newsletter this weekend or next. And I think, we spoke about this in the past about engaging that section of Kentish Town. And typically, I don't know whether you'd agree, but it's really hard to know exactly what a community centre is unless you have been there and have talked to people like yourself and find out what the services are. And certainly in my experience, I've heard people just think that community centres are just for really, really young kids and really, really old people. And obviously you do have an old people's project there, and a lot of youth activities as well. But I think that demographic is something that I'm really passionate about, and I know that you are as well. So have you got any ideas about how you might remove that stigma?
Yeah, actually, we've got some really fun ideas. Going back to your overarching point, I have this sort of slightly strange approach or saying, which is one of our biggest challenges is to get people up the path. I always say, once people, there's a pathway that goes up to our centre, because our centre is off the main road. It's essentially took over a couple of people's gardens. If you haven't been here, if you think about it like that way. So you'd go up a small alleyway to get to the back of the garden, and that's where we are. So yeah, to get people up the path is really important, which is why, strangely, I've spent quite a lot of time working on our garden this over the last few weeks. So it's really nice. So people want to walk up the path. And so often when I've come to work, you see me doing half an hour of digging before I actually open the computer. So really focusing on that detail of experience is really important to me. So making sure that as soon as people walk up the path, they feel calm and they feel welcome, and they feel that this is the right decision they've made. Going on to a latter point about kind of young professionals. So earlier on this year, we set up the Arts Club, the Kentish Town Arts Club, which was just brilliant. It's just about having gigs in our centre, which like acoustic gigs, and they're really fab. And I remember in the February Arts Club, we were like, we should do one of these every 2 months. It's like, or there'll be a pandemic and we'll do it twice a year, But anyway, I've got a call later on with some of the people from the Arts Club who are just fabulous, and we're talking about if we could have like a Harry Krishna style pop-up food cart that went round and delivered sort of really fun, cheap food for people. So that, so you could go to the van and it was okay. The other thing that we're talking about in my meeting later on today is food kits, which is so cool. So we'd give you all the ingredients to make some food, and then you take it home, you make the food, you take pictures, and you send it back to us on Instagram. So it becomes like a challenge thing. So you can come in and get as many enchilada kits as you want, but the process is not about getting the food, it's about the competition of having the best looking enchiladas, because I think if we have that approach, then we reduce the stigma of actually asking food. That's what we're trying to do at every one of these junctures, is not make food the vehicle and not the kind of the emphasis. And I think things like that may work, they might not work, but we've actually got a chef who's going to work with us to think about the recipes. So it's really exciting actually, and we're really lucky because Kentish Town is quite a vibrant area, so we can try these ideas, and if they work, brilliant, and if they don't, we'll just try something else.
What would you like to say to the listeners of this episode in terms of how they can get involved, and what are you trying to do at the moment? what can they do to support you in your cause generally? So a big call to action for somebody listening.
Okay, so if you're listening to this, you need to become a member of Kentish Town Community Centre, because we need to look at this situation as a long-term thing. So I need to say to you, are you prepared to volunteer for us in October or December or March 2021? You can't volunteer with us right now because of social distancing and GDPR things, but what we want to do is get more and more people to be free. It's a free membership, members of Kentish Town Community Centre. So you get our newsletter, you get connected, and then we may well need volunteers in the future. So the call to action is become a member, and then think about whether or not you can volunteer for us in 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, and also more importantly, what you would like to get out of that volunteering opportunity, because we want volunteers who want to themselves become better people. Not that you wouldn't be better people, but a brilliant volunteer for me is someone that says, okay, either I want to put this on my CV, no problem with that, or I want to learn this skill, or I want something out of this experience, is really good for me, because then that really, really helps.
And I know that you have a fundraiser online at the moment that's almost it's £5,000 milestone, which is an awesome achievement, and that's all that money is going towards, I believe, the Happiness Hamper project and funding the food bank at the Kentish Town Community Centre as well. So we'll put the link in the show notes on the website of this. And is there anything else to say on that?
I think my other thing that's really important is to say to anyone who watches this is just look after yourself. If you don't look after yourself, you cannot look after anyone else. So please resist kind of putting yourself out there too much, doing too much community work, if that means you get tired, if that takes away from your headspace, if that interrupts with your work. People have contacted me who've said, I did loads of stuff and I can't do it anymore, and now I'm in a place. So Kentish Town is going to do really well. If we look after ourselves, then we can look after other people. Take the analogy of someone in a swimming pool who's not doing very well. The thing you do is you give them a life ring, life buoy, don't you? You don't jump into the water with them. So as a community, we need to make sure we're okay before we can help other people, which is not selfish in any way at all. It's just practical. We cannot burn ourselves out, because then we'll have people who need help and people who are burned out by helping, which is then two lots of people who then need support. So this is going to go on for at least a year, not in terms of the lockdown necessarily, but the knock-on effects, a year, 2 years. So we need to think about the long term, be sustainable, and be able, and not burn out, I think. So I'd say to anyone who out there, look after yourself right now. We really might need you in September, so and take care of your mental health, and take care of your mental and physical health, and then you'll be able to help other people.
Just to add that and wrap up this first very interesting episode of Get Involved, I would just say, for all the people listening out there, go to the Kentish Town Community Centre on Busby Place. It's about 5 minutes walk from the High Street, in between sort of Kentish Town High Street and Brecknock Road, kind of, if you kind of walk in from. So it's quite secluded, but it's a real tranquil place, and go there and you'll meet some of the lovely staff there. You might meet Sarah, and it's just a really nice experience, even just to say hi and just have a bit of a tour. And I guarantee that you will feel fulfilled, definitely.
We have loads of plants now. We had a big spider plant that had loads of babies, and you might see it on Twitter, but earlier on today, there's one of our older people lives across the road and has dementia, and her daughter, who herself is not so young, took the plant and repotted the spider plants this morning. So come to KTCC and get yourself a spider plant. There we go.
Definitely.
There's a message.
Yeah. Well, Sarah, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. And it looks like the delivery that you were waiting for luckily didn't turn up during this episode. So perfect timing. And for anyone listening as well, just to reiterate, I run Community Spot, a community newsletter for Kentish Town, and you can sign up for that online at communityspot.org and receive a newsletter over WhatsApp every Sunday with lots of information, including what's going on in Kentish Town Community Centre. So yeah, thank you again, Sarah, for your time, and have a great day.